Well, hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Rob Kasegrande, a principal in Deloitte's Telecommunications practice. Thank you for joining us today, both in person as well as to our friends who are streaming online. Today's discussion, we're going to focus on 5G manufacturing. And I'm joined by my good friend, Daniel Lawson from Verizon.
Yep.
You want to give a quick introduction?
Sure, yeah. Thanks for having me, Rob, and the Deloitte team. Daniel Lawson, I run our global solutions organization within Verizon Business. And so responsibility from everything from our industry expertise to private 5G to IoT and all sorts of other things that we do with our network assets. So yeah, excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into, because when you think about it, the integration of machinery, devices, data are really transforming every aspect of manufacturing.
Yep.
Really connecting that digital and physical thread from raw materials to production to installed products. And at the backbone of that is connectivity and distributed computing. And it's really empowering that transformation. So that's where we want to spend the next couple of minutes diving deeper into that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess to start, we've been coming at mobile world for a couple of years.
Yep.
And 5G plus manufacturing is not new.
No.
But things change every year.
Yep.
So compared to last year, now coming into this year, what's different? What's new? What are you most excited about?
Rob, I think the thing that's probably most obvious as you walk the halls here at Mobile World Congress and, speak together with partners and other technology providers is that we finally, I think, have critical mass on 5G actually unlocking use cases. And as you said, connecting that end-to-end thread within the manufacturing space. Like, I think if you rewind the tape 2 or 3 years, I think there's a lot of promise, a lot of optimism, but most of it was conceptual. And now I think you're seeing the intersection of the technology and the real world business outcomes. And so, you're not just seeing pilots, you're seeing full production deployments, and not just in one places, but in many places. I think that's probably the biggest change and the most exciting thing.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, in the past, we're doing point solution, point use cases to start to show that value.
Mm-hmm.
But now you start to stitch them together, and you're getting greater returns, truly seeing that hockey stick that we all look for on our eyes. So you mind sharing some of the use cases, application solutions that you're helping your customers deploy in the space?
Yeah, it's everything from the stuff you would expect, right? Which is, really deeper capabilities around computer vision, particularly around inventory, management, receipt, picking. Think about, a picking process that goes 250 feet deep into a warehouse with lots of RF interference and everything else, 70-foot tall bays. Like we're actually starting to be able to do some of that with, AMRs and AGVs, all based on computer vision and the super high reliability and throughput of the private 5G network.
Right.
But then also things that maybe you wouldn't expect, like 5G-enabled torque wrenches, right? So you're getting like real-time telemetry on the work that's being done on an assembly line. And really everything in between. Predictive maintenance has really come, leaps and bounds ahead of where it was just a couple of years ago. And not just, seeing something, but actually responding to it. And so that's when the intersection of agentic AI and robotics start to become part of the conversation as well. So it really just underscores that sort of confluence of events that we're seeing in the space that's, I think, has a lot of people excited.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we always seem to talk about the impact to the factory floor or inside the distribution center or moving things around the warehouse. But as I sort of mentioned in the introduction, big power of connectivity. And when you bring private networks with macro networks, you can connect everything from raw materials all the way through. So can you talk a little bit about that and how Verizon is helping customers solve that?
Yeah.
Connect that thread?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that was really attractive about private 5G early on was the fact that we could be much more prescriptive and deterministic about the performance of the network, right? When you combine that with, end-to-end capabilities on the macro network, through our IoT, capability globally with orchestration and everything else, as well as network slicing, now you're actually able to connect the supply chain end-to-end. So it's not just raw material coming inbound to the manufacturing plant. It's also, finished product going out of the plant and then tracking that to distribution and retail storefronts or whatever it is that's potentially being manufactured. So, you're able to get true end-to-end visibility, sensorization, video, all those types of things. Whereas before you might have, sort of siloed solutions to give you pieces of it. And then we would leave it to our clients to then stitch all those things together.
Yeah, no, for sure. And which I find really fascinating is now, so much of connectivity is putting in installed products. So even take a large piece of machinery, right? Tracking it all along the actual production, and now it's in installation. They're pulling data off it. Seeing how it's performing. Right? Predictive maintenance, all of that. Feed that back into the manufacturing cycle, and you're getting greater efficiency and productivity.
That's right.
Which is that. You mentioned private 5G. You mentioned a little bit of macro, and there's also neutral host. Can you talk a little bit about the three of those? Should they be considered, singular solutions brought together in, a integrated solution? What's a lot of the customers thinking about now?
Yeah, so I would look at it through this lens. So I think most people are familiar with the concept of private 5G, where we can bring, the concept of mobility and ultra reliable communications into the four walls of the enterprise, and then everyone is also familiar with, the macro connectivity capabilities, right? That now includes slicing and RedCap and different things in the 5G ecosystem. Neutral host is really kind of the intersection of those things. Think of it as a platform play where I can extend macro connectivity for, traditional, administrative business type functions into a facility that might not have great coverage because it might be in the middle of nowhere, like many manufacturing plants are. But at the same time, I can also deploy on the same infrastructure the private capabilities that allow me to run advanced robotics, video analytics, massive sensorization, all those types of things. So neutral host is really the intersection of bringing in all sorts of macro connectivity from multiple carriers, and at the same time delivering private performance as well for the applications that need it.
Excellent. And do you think now with network slicing getting a lot more momentum, is that going to change the need for private or neutral host and see more manufacturers choosing to use a slice on the macro network as an alternative?
I think it will for some applications, absolutely. Slicing, like any emerging technology, sometimes turns into a hammer looking for a nail. All applications are going to have their specific requirements. All businesses are going to have their specific requirements. And so there will be some, absolutely, that will simply be able to operate off of a slice on the macro network. There will be others where, whether it's uplink bandwidth or whether it's, predictable jitter or latency, where you have to have, full control, and also the security that comes along with the private RAN inside the facility as well. And I think what you'll find is that they're highly complementary, right? And so while I may have private deployed in multiple factories, I may also carve out a slice that connects them or that connects the supply chain to those manufacturing plants. And so then I get the same performance, both micro and macro, if you will.
So, we talk a lot about connectivity, and as I'm not going to say old telco hats, but I know we've both been in the industry for a while. But these solutions require not just the bandwidth and the latency and the throughput. It requires the compute, right, and the distributed computing, that's available across the network. So, we'd love to hear your thoughts on how Verizon is addressing that, and some of the solutions and the way that you're embedding that within the network to deliver that to customers.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of great conversations this week with many of our hyperscaler partners, and the pace at which the acceleration of the models is happening and how quickly they're growing and learning is exceptional. And so when you focus on that, that's generally happening in these large data centers where they're training these models. But we really believe that the value of those models will be at the edge where the inferencing happens. You got to take the model to the data as opposed to the opposite. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that every type of application, every type of deployment needs edge inferencing or needs compute at the edge. But again, just like connectivity, whether it's Wi-Fi or a private cellular network or the macro network, it's going to be, right tool for the right job. Right. And so we think there are absolutely applications, particularly when you think about like safety, on the manufacturing floor, or quality assurance, right? They're going to require, pretty aggressive latencies, especially when you're talking about 8K video and things like that. But then there are other things that, I was talking with some healthcare folks last week that, they believe that they can do robotic surgery with up to 100 milliseconds of latency round trip. So you could be doing surgery in, from New York on a patient in California. For them, it's not about latency, it's about jitter. So like I have to have the predictable performance of the video in front of me. Right. And so I think it's going to be that type of thing. Like there will be applications where you absolutely have to have edge compute, and then others where, it's not a necessity. And I think that's great because it provides us a set of tools with which we can go and transform the business and operate in a different way.
Sure. Yeah. So you mentioned 5G enabled torque rangers.
Yep.
Go back a year, 2 years ago, there was always that dialogue that the network's here. the connectivity's here, the compute's here, but the device ecosystem just hadn't caught up yet.
Yep.
You think we sort of hit that efficient frontier where the devices are coming online, where to your earlier point, the value is even extracting greater value from the investments.
Right. I think we're getting there. Yeah, I think you certainly see whether it's PLCs or tools or cameras with embedded chipsets or sensors or anything else. We're definitely at a place where we can start to deliver real value. But it's also the type of thing, it's very much an ecosystem opportunity, and we're going to continue to see proliferation and the emergence of RedCap, where the cost of those chipsets, continues to go down.
Yeah.
I think that helps in terms of overall, ROI on those types of investments without necessarily having to retool an entire brownfield environment. But you're also seeing, as industrial automation and other things progress, you're seeing a lot of greenfield deployments, whether it's in consumer packaged goods or manufacturing or logistics as well. So I think that's going to help significantly also.
So you mentioned greenfield. Obviously, there's a little inertia with brownfield. Right?
Yep.
So I just talk a little bit about that. For manufacturers or logistic companies that see the value in this, but are a little worried about previous network technology they haven't installed, or kind of taking that next step, not wanting to have to rip or replace, how this is additive to that versus a replacement.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things, right? One is just, sort of the basics of, I can always attach a dongle or a 5G modem to a device without necessarily having to manufacture it with it on board. But also I think the ability to use sensors and cameras to understand, contextually, externally what's happening in a device, whether it's vibration, whether it's temperature, that doesn't actually require you to completely start from scratch or retool, a manufacturing floor or an industrial environment. So, there's, for the foreseeable future, I think in the brownfield space, you're going to have kind of a hybrid approach.
Yeah.
But there's more than enough to get started.
Yeah, for sure. Many of those things are actually available and demonstrated in use at our smart factory, which, again, thank you for your partnership on. So I think we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Thank you very much for joining us for your time. Look forward to continuing with working with you. And a year from now, we'll come back and we'll talk about what's even more exciting and change even more next year.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me, Rob.
Thanks for being here.